Now, superstar Billy Graham and David Schultz are the most vocal people in this piece. Give me the reaction within the company when this airs. Is this just another blow in what seemed to be an onslaught at the time, or did it have some kind of significance?
As I recall, a lot of us thought that if Hogan had just answered the question, it would have just gone, everything would have been just gone away. But because it was the lie that got him. It's like
right.
Nixon. It's like, as soon as he lied about it, everybody groaned and went, oh, here's this guy, like, come on, like, denying that he was on steroids. Anyway, the way Hogan handled it was so poorly done. Like, he was so pathetic how he handled it, rather than just sort of owning up to it, or giving some kind of an answer that would have sufficed. But I think he brought a tidal wave of headache and nightmare for everybody. And business really dropped off almost automatic as soon as all that through that whole period.
The company does institute a drug policy early in the year, I guess as a result of this and some of the other pieces that were coming out. Was it legitimately enforced?
I think so. I mean, it was for me. I think for most of the guys. I mean, there may be exceptions to the rule. I know lots of guys tried their hardest to cheat when they needed to. Some of them got away with it. I mean, but it was not easy to do, and it was a game of chance. You know, I know personally that for me it wasn't a big issue.
Right.
You know, I wasn't too worried about passing or failing a drug test. I mean.
This was, for many years, talked about as kind of a dream match. And why didn't the Hogan-Flair thing work?
Well, I think because probably the egos, in the sense that two guys Hogan had a set routine way he worked. He could only work a certain way. He had to work the Hulk Hogan kind of way. And Ric Flair was just the same mentality. He was set in his own ways of how he had basically, both of them were two guys that had the same match every night so when you mix them together and say, okay, now try to mix and combine, they were at a loss as to how to do that.
Does a booker, a promoter, somebody, is it their job to pull the guys aside and say, listen, this isn't going to work unless one of you starts to dance to somebody's music?
I suspect, I'm guessing, but I'm sure Vince tried.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I'm thinking that I'm sure there was a lot of reasoning there. On, you know, I kind of went through my own thing with Rick in '92 when I worked with him, where it was, you know, for whatever reason we went from having really good matches to, like, as soon as I won the title, we were just having lousy matches where we bungled up the finish all the time, or something went wrong, or he missed up the spots, or there was always some kind of where it just wasn't quite right all the time. And Rick was, I remember he told me that he was having some problems at home or something like that, and he was distracted. And maybe that's the case, but I mean, I remember actually going to Vince and going, I think he's sabotaging the matches, trying to sabotage like, we keep screwing up the finish and stuff like that. It's like we're doing the worst endings to our matches out of nowhere. I'm pinning him with like he'll call a small package out of a figure four, and I'll small package him, and he doesn't kick out. And it's like the worst ending of the match. It's so flat, and it's like hardly even a clap. And I'm looking at him like, you're killing me off every night.
And killing himself too, because you.
Well, he was leaving, going to WCW at that time. But I remember telling Vince, like, we had 90 days left with him, and I was working with him, and I said, I'm not sure if he's on the level with me, because he's ruining the match every night on purpose, or it seems to me. And then Vince and me talked about it more, and I think we had meetings with Rick in the building where Pat Patterson flew in, and we talked. And you know what? We did the same thing every night. He still screwed up lots of stuff, and we never quite did it my way. And eventually he left, and I think Vince talked to me a few weeks after, and he said, you know what? I think it's just the way he works. He didn't do it. It was not so much bad intentions, maybe, as just that's just how he works. He can only do Ric Flair stuff. He can do the Ric Flair match. he's got to be in control of that Ric Flair match, and that's, you know, he calls it in there kind of thing, which is sort of that was how they worked in the 70s. You know, they call it in there, and everybody sort of imitated Harley Race and Dory Funk, and I think Flair, that's how he came from an era that was, I came on the dividing line of another era that was not quite like that anymore. We could still call it in the ring, but we were more advanced than that.